think it does still have social value.
Going off of what Shelby was saying, it definitely has a bunch of social values because some artists speak about like things that even happen to them in their community, and so like the oppression that they face and like people that they face, and just talking about things that they've endured, like obstacles in their life, and how people can relate to it. And so yeah, I do think hip hop does have a social value because it's like a form of art, and like people like art, and like especially when it's something that they are able to relate to and is really able to understand.
Yeah, I definitely think hip hop does have social value because a lot of times, you know, like when people like face oppression nowadays, like they're just kind of like thrown under the bus. And I think that like through hip hop, like the artist is really like able to like reveal their story and like reach out to a larger audience and make like known like the oppression that like goes on in the world.
I think hip hop is a lot like modern art, where it's kind of a hit or miss. And I think you can say something powerful through your music and through your art, and sometimes it's just a red dot on a white page, and it doesn't really mean anything, but something about it attracts different people.
I remember yesterday Mr. Barrera was saying how like artists will talk about stuff that happens that you don't hear on the news, and how like they shine light on subjects that you don't hear about every single day. So I think that's why like hip hop still does have social value, because you can listen to a rap song and be like, oh, like I didn't know that was happening, or I didn't know this happened, I didn't know this is what was going on in this part of the country, blah blah blah. Yeah. Here you go.
Sorry, I can't.
I'm sorry, that was my fault.
It's okay.
I'm still trying to get it.
Okay, so this was based like I found some evidence kind of about that, how hip hop has social value, but it's like personal kind of. In the hip hop article where Miss Teaser, she says it's a song about friendship when she's talking about her song Ooh La La. It's a song that I write for friends of mine that we grow up together, and she's like, we both have the same story so we can connect. And I thought the social value present in her song is just going through, like pushing through the same things, being united, even though it was just with her friend who kind of spoke the same language, because her parents are from Congo, same thing, which is kind of
See, and the thing is, Miss Tierek said that she was talking about how all the ghettos is like the same in LA, New York, Paris, Russia, Chile, and how like all these things are happening and everyone's being like oppressed in like different parts, and it's all like due to the same type of stuff. And like that really kind of like shines a light on like what's happening in the ghettos, because like we don't hear about it like on the news. We don't hear about like what's happening in Harlem or anything like that.
We just cite the text.
So this goes into what you were saying, kind of leads into the second question on what similarities exist between poor people around the globe. And like you were saying, like in the article, she was saying how every city has a ghetto, and like no country is like safe from people like being oppressed and people being poor. And so what similarities exist is that they go through like the same things of not being able to have all the luxury items as most. And so she was saying how as a kid she had to go to work with her mom because they couldn't afford an extra caregiver, and how around the world like people from Algeria, Morocco, Tunisian Africans, like they all like went through the same things, like their parents not being able to afford an extra caregiver and having them to go to work with them. And she said that it'll be like talked about during like rap songs and like hip hop from people around the world, different people.
To kind of tie back into the social value question and what you were saying, something that I found kind of like profound that she said on the 4th page. She says that I feel a lot of very similar faces here and very similar sensibility and humanity. And I think that we feel that we are lost with that vision of the world. We are lost like a society. We made this society. And I definitely think that kind of, puts everyone underneath the same umbrella of like you know, we all have our individual kind of experiences, and the music is kind of bringing people who are going through like similar experiences kind of together. And it's just about like creative like expression through like the artistry, and that, you know, we're all kind of conquering our own battles, and we can kind of like relate to others on like emotional basis through the music. And like yeah, I just took it to be that. And she said that we are kind of lost as a society, and that we aren't really we're not really realizing that that, you know,
The social divide is huge. Yeah.
I like how, back to the quote that Kate mentioned about her song Ooh La La about friendship. She writes something that is personal to her and personal to her friends, but at the same time it's very universal because everybody knows, I mean, at some point we've at least had one friend, you know, so it's like everybody knows about friendship and like growing up together and struggling together.
I think like one of the things like her whole song, like at least this like whole album apparently is about like how when she was an immigrant, how she had to like forcefully move from Chile and go to France, and like a lot of people in the world can like relate to like being an immigrant and having to learn another language because you're like forced to go there.
Yeah, and I think her, like, having parents from Chile and, like, living in France, it really, like, influenced her music culturally, because I know she sings, like, in Spanish, she sings in French, she sings in English. And I think that's, like, the really cool thing about hip-hop, because most, like, popular songs nowadays are, like, in English, and they're, like, cheesy, and they don't really have, like, any significance. And so I think that because, you know, like, she's keeping it like real with herself and like kind of like revealing like her like own like identity through her music, that other people will be able to relate to more so than like, I don't know, like more popular music nowadays. Sorry, it's okay. I was trying to think. So y'all both have good points, and I was like thinking of yours about how her journey of going to America. And I found a quote in the Hiphop article when she's saying it's about expression, because if I was a painter, then it would be more easy right now in that sense about the expression of language. And I kind of took that how, not necessarily that she thinks that painters are not financially stable, but she contrasts her success and difficulty and obstacles in her American tour to a painter, because she sees a painter having a smoother path of expression in language. Like, it was hard for her, but still, she kind of just worked around it, and people could see that, and people could understand that. So,
No, you're good. So yeah, like you were saying, she talks about so when she sees like people making music and art, that she's able to relate to it herself, and I guess, not to speak for her, but I guess she takes that, what's the word for it? She takes that inspiration and she incorporates within her own music, therefore people are able to relate to her music and what she's gone through. Because everyone, I wouldn't say everyone goes through the same things, but like it's similar between like growing up and and they're in the case where they're in like the ghetto or whatever, like they know like what's been going on around them, and like they put into their music, so like the people who are still like going through it, like they're able to relate to it. I was like kind of can go into the third question on how can music be used to make social progress amongst oppressed people. And I guess it just gives like recognition, like, okay, like I know what you're going through, like I've been there, like, yeah.
What you were talking about recognition, like, I was thinking about how like she, the NPR person who was interviewing the girl, she was saying like, you know, Queen Latifah, she was like the first generation of like woman hip hop rappers and stuff, and most of her songs was like making a counterculture against like that hypersexual, like hypermasculinity like type of musical setting that was like happening during that day and age. And I feel like hip hop is a way of like bringing those issues to light, because like what like people were saying, like all you see on the news is like, you don't really see the stuff about like the ghettos and the issues that's going on there. And like hip hop is a way to like show like this is what's happening in this like area. Like you don't know about it, but it's happening.
Okay, so I like picked up on what you're saying and how that's actually like that's really relevant now. And I was thinking of when she says we are lost like a society, we made the society. And she's saying that people come together with her music because it's forced, but it's not like pressurizing. They basically are they created the whole persona of being lost, but it's like a togetherness of being lost, you know, like it's because they have to kind of self-identify with themselves, like not just about culture, but you know, language and humanity and sensibility and all those kind of things. So I agree with you on that.
And I think that's kind of like the beauty of hip hop is that, you know, it doesn't matter where you come from, you know, it doesn't matter what language you speak. Like, it's like your heart's going, and I think it just really speaks to people on a lot of different levels, and I think like a lot of things are kind of changing in hip hop, you know, in terms of expression and whatnot. But I think for the most part, it's always been kind of just like expression and like artistry, like she was saying, about it being about artistry and expression, like painting is to like a painter or whatever. So yeah.
I've noticed that, like, I mean, I've always noticed this too, how, like, in most, like, hip-hop songs, it's kind of like a redundancy of, like, growing up from the ghetto and, like, getting out and making it to the top and just starting out from the bottom and getting somewhere. They all, like, most hip-hop artists, like, they all are, like, relating to each other, so, like, what you're saying.
And I feel like that kind of relates to the third question, because it's like sort of encouraging oppressed people, like that, you know, you're not stuck here. Like if I made it out, like you can make it out too.
Mhm.
Like you don't have to just be like okay with your current situation. Like you have other options.
Right. Okay, going along with that, there was a quote, I don't know what paragraph it's in, but it said, and I think that if we feel we are lost with that vision of the world, we are lost like society, we made this society. And I kind of took that like as the artist using hip hop as an outlet to their oppression. Yeah.
Last comment.
I agree with that. I personally listen to songs that like help me, encourage me, and that are saying like get back up, and like I like try to like look at success stories and look at where people started and say if I'm here I can get there.
People on the outside, give them